All right, let's talk about a situation that can feel like a contractor's absolute worst nightmare. Your project is falling behind, the pressure is on, and the owner is demanding a recovery plan. This one moment, it can seriously make or break your project's profitability. So let's get right into it.
So I want you to picture this. You know you're behind schedule. The heat is on. And then that email lands in your inbox, the one from the owner, and it's got one single loaded demand. I need a recovery schedule now. Look, this is not just a casual request for an update, right? This is a high-stakes moment that could literally define the financial outcome of your entire job. Your very next move is absolutely critical.
So what even is a recovery schedule? Well, officially, it's a formal revised plan that shows how you're going to get back on track and hit that original completion date. But let's be real, this is no back-of-the-napkin sketch. This is a binding document, and it carries some serious legal and financial weight. And this right here, this is a hugely important distinction you have to understand: mitigation versus recovery. Now, on the left, you've got mitigation. That's just about making reasonable efforts to lessen a delay's impact. You're not taking on the cost, you're not taking the blame. But on the right, you have the recovery schedule. That's a formal commitment, and it can mean, and often does mean, that you are on the hook for all the costs. The difference here is massive.
So that demand from the owner, it puts you at a major crossroads. You are facing a very high-stakes decision, and there are going to be big consequences no matter which path you choose. And basically, you have three distinct options on the table.
So here they are, your three options. 1, you can comply fully. 2, you can decline to comply. Or 3, you can try to find some middle ground and comply partially. Let's really break down the risks and maybe the rewards of each one. Okay, option 1, full compliance. Seems easy, doesn't it? Just do what the owner asks, keep him happy. But I'm telling you, this is a trap. Just submitting that schedule without any conditions is basically like admitting you're at fault for all the delays. You could waive your right to get paid for those delays and end up stuck with the entire bill for getting back on schedule. So what about the opposite? What if you just saying no? Well, that's option 2, decline to comply. And this is a really dangerous game. If your contract says you have to submit a recovery schedule, then just refusing could be seen as a breach of contract. And if that happens, the owner might be totally within their rights to start withholding payments or, worst case scenario, even terminate your contract. And then there's option 3, what we're calling the middle path. With this one, you show you're acting in good faith. You make reasonable adjustments, you mitigate the delay, but you do it without formally admitting you're at fault. It's a really strategic move. It can protect you by showing you're being proactive, but you're not accepting the liability. But here's the thing. This is about so much more than just time. It's about money. A recovery schedule is really a financial document in disguise, and the hidden risks are huge. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly illustrates the danger. I want you to think about it this way. Handing over that schedule without protecting yourself, it's literally like signing a blank check. You're promising to get the project to the finish line on time, but you haven't settled that all-important question of who's paying for the extra fuel, the overtime, the extra resources to get there faster. And that brings us to this concept of acceleration. On the left, we have directed acceleration. This is the good kind. The owner tells you to speed up and agrees to pay for it. Simple. But on the right, that's the trap. It's called constructive acceleration. That's when the owner refuses a valid time extension that you're totally entitled to, which forces you to accelerate on your own dime, and that is where you can lose your shirt. So the bottom line is this. If you submit an unconditional recovery schedule, you could be waving goodbye to your most important claims. You could, without even meaning to, admit fault for delays you didn't cause, give up your legal right to a time extension, and get stuck paying for the entire cost of acceleration yourself. So, how do you protect yourself? How do you fight back? Well, you don't play defense. You go on the offensive. And your secret weapon for doing that is something called the fragment. Now, don't let the weird name fool you. A fragment is actually a really simple idea. It's just a small group of activities that you add to your main project schedule. And its whole purpose is to model one specific event, like a change order, or a surprise you found on site, or a delay in getting materials. It basically isolates that event and shows its direct impact on your timeline. So here's the play-by-play of how it works. A delay happens, let's say the owner is late with some information. Step 2, you create a fragment that models that exact delay. Step 3, you plug it right into your schedule.
And 4, boom, the schedule now tells the story for you. It's clear, it's visual proof, and it justifies a time extension while showing exactly who is responsible for that delay. Okay, so all of this brings us to a really clear set of best practices. Think of this as your official contractor's playbook for handling delays and those pesky recovery schedule demands. Following these rules can save you from a world of financial pain.
All right, here's your playbook. First, you gotta be disciplined. Keep those schedules constantly updated. Use Fragnets to document every single change right when it happens. Second, be assertive. Submit your time extension requests right away and always demand a written directive before you even start thinking about a recovery schedule. And finally, and this is probably the most important part, be protective. Always, always provide a written reservation of rights with anything you submit. And never, ever, ever volunteer a recovery schedule.
You know, at the end of the day, what you need to remember is that a project schedule, it's more than just a bunch of bars on a chart. It tells the story of the project, what happened, when it happened, and why it happened. And your job is to make absolutely sure that you're the one holding the pen, writing that story accurately, and protecting yourself every single step of the way.